Adriana, and I'm here to talk to you about spirit and some ways for us to connect with spirit. So I currently run a small business called Ink to Prosperity, where I do coaching, readings, and I make handmade spiritual items to help you along your journey. So let's get started. Get your notebooks, grab you a glass of water, wine, whatever you need, so that we can get into this lesson, all right? Okay, so to start off, what is spirit? What does that even mean? And the short answer is spirit is everything. Everywhere. Spirit has no thing, no one thing. And, spirit is this higher consciousness, the highest consciousness that exists. Some people say God, some people say source, some people refer to deities. It really is personal for you, but for me, I may use spirit and source interchangeably, okay? And so every living thing has spirit, has a spirit. Plants, animals, people. And because we are all spiritual beings having a human experience, we are not separated from spirit. Never have we been, never will we be. Okay? So first realize that you have always been connected to spirit. So don't come into this journey thinking that you're separated, because that's a lie. Flat out lie. Okay? We've been conditioned to perceive ourselves as separate, but that is not the case. Okay? And so in order for you to kind of create this relationship with spirit, because the connection's already there, that's not the point. You're creating a relationship, cultivating a relationship. That's what you are doing. And when you come into it that way, you take away this fear that nothing is there. You take away this idea of, oh my God, first I gotta connect. Like you already got the phone. The phone is here. Now you just need to talk. You need to have a conversation with spirit. Create a language between you two. Okay? So that is the first thing that you are doing. And because we are all connected, you can see spirit in every single thing. Okay? You can see the manifestation of spirit in everything. Okay? And so the first thing that I believe that is really important for us to consider when we're cultivating this relationship is understanding that spirit is infinite. And so if something is infinite, what ways have you allowed yourself to limit source? How have you kept spirit in a box? What has society tried to box up when it comes to spirit and source? Okay? That's the very first place I want you to start, because that's the exact space, that's the exact question where you are going to allow spirit to prove you wrong, to challenge your theory. Okay? And so in this relationship, since you already have this connection, in this relationship that you're building with spirit, you want to make sure that you're coming with this open space, this tabula rasa, okay? And so you can't do that until you are aware of the ways that you've been limiting source. All right? And so as you start to think about these limitations, you give yourself freedom to then experience spirit in more open ways, because spirit is here to show you your own level of freedom, your own high vibrational frequency, to challenge you, to teach you, to expand your consciousness. That is what your soul is trying to teach you. How can you expand your consciousness? And so when you first become aware in the ways that you've been limited, you then break open the doors for these extravagant, amazing experiences to then challenge your theory that spirit is only this little thing. Okay? And so, one of the reasons why I believe that it's important for us to have this connection with spirit is because we as humans have had so much to have to endure. Every single one of us has a story. Every single one of us has a past, and we're all just trying to figure out, how can I keep being the best me? And so I believe that it's important to connect with spirit, because we then, when we are developing this relationship with Source, our ancestors, our deities, our spirit council and soul family, we realize that we're not alone, okay? We also realize that some of the stuff that we're dealing with didn't even start with us. It was generations ago. It was something that was brought from past lives. It's ingrained in our Akashic record for some reason. There's so many different causes of why we deal with some of the issues that we are, going through or have gone through. And so when we realize, because we try, as humans, we try to compartmentalize everything. We try to come up with a reason for everything, because it's our brain's way of processing. It's our brain's way of making ourselves safe. When we know a cause, we know how to handle it. Therefore, we know how to keep ourselves safe. That's the math. So when we allow ourselves to be open to spirit and we connect with Source and we start cultivating this relationship, we start to receive guidance on where we come from, what we're made of, what we've had to endure in past lives. We learn about our generational pains and wins, and it really creates this sense of, it's not my fault. And that frees us from so much guilt. Guilt and shame are some of the worst things to have to harbor in our bodies. It creates so much weight for us physically, mentally, and emotionally, and spiritually. Shame and guilt block so much consciousness from getting through, okay? And because we're not separated from spirit, that means our physical bodies are not separated from our spiritual bodies. It's all interconnected. It's all working together, okay? And so when you are feeling shameful, when you are feeling guilty, you are harboring that in your body, which is causing you to have even more sickness than you may have came into this world with. And I believe that connecting with Source brings us this deep level of healing that no doctor, no spiritual advisor, no shaman could ever give us. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Because Source, this higher consciousness, is of the highest caliber of love and healing and harmony and balance. And so when that energy comes into us, it completely frees up all those blocked areas like no other. Because when we work through these other spiritual leaders, we also are having to work through their own blockages, because we're all human. We have them. We have them. We all do. And so setting yourself free from having to get permission from whatever spiritual leader or authority figure is the most radical act of self-love that you could possibly do for yourself. When you realize that you are the divine being, you are the manifestation of Source, can't nothing hold you down, okay? And yes, you may have to keep having to realize that depending on what you're going through in life, but babe, just having that is so free. It frees your queerness from having to fit into a box. It frees your belief system from having to abide by certain rules. It frees your magic from having to stick to this one little tradition. Sometimes things have to change. Spirit understands that. Spirit is flowing. And so we allow ourselves to grow too. Our bodies change. Our minds change. So allow your connection, your relationship with Spirit to shift as well. It doesn't belong to one kind of thing, okay? And so that's why it's super important for you to have this relationship with Spirit, because stagnancy is not okay. Energy has to move. That's one of the most basic universal laws. Energy has to move. And when you stay stuck in a mindset, when you stay stuck in a phase in your life, stuck in a relationship, stuck at a job that no longer resonates with your highest truth, you are trying to go against the law of the universe of movement. Okay, this relationship with Spirit, you are going to get the guidance that you need to get you through those difficult times. Spirit is not promising that everything is going to be perfect, but Spirit is promising that you're going to get through it. Okay? Everything is divinely aligned. Everything is not going to be all smiles all the time, but you will get through it. And that's why it's important for you to have this relationship with Spirit, so you have this consistent flow of motivation coming towards you, this consistent flow of comfort, and this consistent flow of validation in your experience, okay? That's why I want you to have this relationship with Spirit. That's why it's so important. Because when you are raising your vibes and you're in your moment and you're like aligned and things are flowing as they should, you naturally affect other people. You naturally affect the world. You naturally affect your community, because we are all connected. Even without you saying a single word, just your good juju alone is a domino effect for those around you. The people you live with, your home environment, your money, the people in the grocery store, your friends, your pets, your plants. You're affecting it all just with your good juju alone, because you chose to focus on your healing. You chose to love on yourself. You chose to cultivate this relationship with Spirit, because ultimately it's a relationship with self. Okay? That is why it's very, very much important for you to have this relationship with Spirit. All right? So now let's get into the fun things around how do I do this thing, girl? Let me tell you. Okay, so I love working with the elements. It's one of the most rawest and just pure ways to connect with Spirit. And when I say connect with and cultivating this relationship with Spirit, I don't mean you're getting this message you need to work on your third eye to see your grandmother in your dreams. I don't mean that. I mean like just the awareness that spirit is everywhere. I mean the awareness that you're okay. The awareness that you are protected, you are guided, you are loved. It doesn't have to be this big message. It could be just as simple as you are loved. That's it. Okay? And so back to the elements. I love me some fire. I love water. I have a lot of those elements in my chart, so it makes sense. So you could do something as simple as getting yourself a candle and talking to this candle, telling it, I just want to connect with my spirit council. I want to connect with my honorable ancestors. I want to connect with my ascended masters. And then light that thing up, okay? And you could watch the flame, and that alone is will put you into a meditative space. Watching flames is meditation, okay? You could read the candle wax if you wanted to, or you could just observe how spirit has increased communication with you after you burned your candle. You can always go to the water. The streams, the lakes, the rivers, the oceans, go to some water. Water is an excellent conduit for spirit. Just sit there and observe the water. That is a meditation, okay? Talk to a tree, hug a tree. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go to spirit about the things that you're too afraid to talk to another person about. You know, like spirit is like your best friend, okay? Tell spirit what the fuck is going on. Tell spirit what's bothering you. Tell spirit how you're feeling that day. Tell spirit, like, I'm really concerned about my mother and she's really sick and I just don't know what to do. Tell spirit these things, okay? Open your mouth, open your heart so that spirit has room to move through you. That's another part of getting into the flow. When you keep it all tight and shut up inside of you, that's another form of stagnancy. And we already know that that goes against one of the most universal laws of the world, okay? So talk to spirit. Go to the trees and just have a conversation with the trees. You'd be surprised how much better you feel afterwards. You know, trees soak up the things that we don't need and is able to turn it into something that is beneficial for all of us. Why would you not go to earth? That's literally what earth does. Plants, that's what they do. They transmute energy. The most perfect element to go to when you really need something to shift, okay? And that's just thinking of it from like a more scientific space. The element of air, talking is connecting with air. Standing in the wind and just allowing yourself to just sit and let it blow over you. That is cleansing, okay? Allowing yourself to watch the incense smoke swirl and dance. That is spirit, okay? That's another way for you to have this divine connection with spirit. And when you speak, sitting with yourself and speaking out loud, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find a solution to your problems nestled in your words. But you got to get it out. Stop holding shit in, okay? Stop holding it in. So talking out loud to yourself is a beautiful way for you to connect with your higher self, okay? Because again, you're not separated. And you just have to give yourself, your brain, room to get out of that ego space, that space of fear, so that your higher self can come in and say, hey, 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 we're here. You should do this. Or, hey, don't worry about that thing. It's going to be taken care of. Or, hey, we got you. It's coming your way. Okay? And so when you talk it out, you're just bringing in room, making room for spirit to say, what's up? All right? So another great way to connect with spirit is asking for signs. And when I say ask for sign, I mean get specific, boo. Like, if you need an answer about which job you should take, you should ask spirit for a sign. And when I say a sign, I say, okay, spirit, if I am supposed to take offer 1, show me a elephant by tomorrow night. That's what I mean by specific. Okay? And when you give spirit some specificity, it's like, oh, boom, okay, now we know how to connect with her. Because again, you're developing a relationship. You're creating this language between you and spirit. And so you just gave them a guideline to abide by. And so because spirit wants to connect with you, they're going to honor that guideline. Okay? Spirit is always sending you signs. Always, always, always. But we're not always aware of what those signs are. So when you then say, okay, I'm going to recognize this particular sign, Spirit's like, boom. All right, we got it. We know what to do. Okay? And so ask for signs. Don't just say, send me a sign. Because they probably may send you one 5 minutes later and you're not even going to be aware of it. Okay? For me, I like to see my things in 3s. If it's a yes, I like to see it in 3s. That's just my thing. It could be an animal. You want it to be a sign that's not really something you see all the time so that you don't get it confused. But you don't want it to be so extreme to where, like, there's literally no fucking way possible that you're gonna get that sign. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be rational here, okay? So ask for a sign, okay? Ask for a sign. If you're trying to figure out, should I connect with a certain saint or deity, ask for a sign from your honorable ancestors, divine source, your spirit council, your ascended masters. Ask them for a sign if you should work with a particular deity or saint, okay? The third way is sound, okay? Sound transports our mind and our energy, okay? And I don't know if it's just me, but like sometimes I don't want to hear anything, but I don't want to hear words, but I want to hear sound. And so nature sound, birds chirping, water running, singing bowls, classical music, all of just instrumental music in general, drums, all of that is reaching, it's like the language that all of our ancestors understand. So of course, they're going to be more present while you're listening to these sounds because it's something that they resonate with too, okay? So that's an excellent way. And it's not like you need to like do some special ritual. You literally just need to sit there and really allow yourself to hear the things that are coming from this music, this sound, and allow your mind to just be, okay? And so the last thing is being able to gaze in the sky. I don't suggest gazing at the sun, but if the clouds are clear or it's like a pretty blue sky or the nighttime, I highly, highly recommend gazing in the sky because it just naturally connects you with a different realm, a different higher consciousness, another source of energy outside of, your own. And whatever is coming up in your brain, let it be. When you find yourself going off on those thought tangents, breathe. And then come back to being aware of the sky, okay? Because it's not about you being able to control your mind. It's just bringing your awareness back. Bringing your awareness back from that deep, dark rabbit hole of thoughts, okay? Bringing it back to your present moment, okay? Because you are observing your thoughts, okay? So those are some of my favorite ways to connect with spirit. Um, I hope that this was helpful for you, because at the end of the day, I want you to have this beautiful relationship with Spirit.